Well, welcome back. So what we have here is my wife's Tough Shed storage building. This is a kit sold by Home Depot and assembled by me. It has been here between 15 and 20 years. I'm not sure how old it is. But what has happened is the floor has rotted out from the inside, and that was a shocking discovery to me a few months ago. I had not realized that, I don't know if you can see these vent holes very good, but that vent hole right there, there's 5 of them across the front, 5 of them across the back, and gophers and armadillos and ants have completely built up a pile of dirt solid underneath the floor of this building, and so there's no more ventilation going through those ventilation holes, and that has made the floor rot out. So the original plan was to dig this thing out from the inside. If you think that sounds like a crappy job, you're not the only one, and that's why it hadn't been done yet. But I had a thought earlier this week that maybe I could lift this building up and put a skid underneath it and move it off of the pile of dirt and not have to dig it out before I rebuild the floor. So that's what we're going to try and do, and we'll see if it works. As far as the scale of fun that this project is going to be, I'm going to make this probably a 0 out of possible, anything. But it's my fault. I let the thing get rotted out on the inside. I had no idea what was going on, and now we know. And so anyway, we're going to get to work. So the building is sitting on a metal floor joist system that came with the kit. I set it on an additional set of treated 4x6s, and I do not remember if that steel frame is screwed to the 4x6s from the inside or not. That would have been like the first thing that I did, but I have no recollection of whether or not that's fastened down or if it's just sitting on there from the weight. So I got these Simpson straps. I'm going to put some self-tapping metal screws in the top and a lag bolt on the bottom to fasten these units together, and put several on each side and across the front and the back so that the wood frame is fastened to the metal floor joist system, so that when I try to pick this thing up, the whole thing comes together instead of coming apart and making a bigger problem. Alright, we got our straps located. The self-drilling screws did not want to self-drill into the metal frame, so I'm going to have to come around and hit those with a pilot hole. On this back side, I had mentioned armadillos before, but I found 2 concrete blocks that I didn't remember being there that I had put in place to block off armadillo holes. But you can see how much this thing has settled over 15 or 20 years that it's been here. Got concrete blocks under the corners, but they've sunken so far down that everything's buried under about 4 inches of dirt. This is what 20 years of being too busy doing other stuff looks like. That's what happens. You just you're living your life, you're going to work, doing other stuff, and just from all this dead grass clippings, decomposing, whatever you want to call it, that's 2 or 3 inches over 20 years of just, dirt that piles up. So there you go. We're keep going. Alright, so we got our straps doing strappy things. Got a lag bolt in the bottom, non-self-drilling self-drillers in the top. Remember, the only force on these things is going to be pulling straight up, at least hopefully. So that should keep everything tied together while we try to get the building lifted up. I'm going to use these here shelf brackets down into the outside, and then stick a 4x4 underneath those, and put the jack underneath that. So we'll see how it works. So here's our hypothesis at work. I tried it out. I did get a little bit of lift, but I think there's still too much weight inside, so I'm going to go ahead and empty it out. I don't want the floor to separate after doing all this work. So, see you in a bit. Alright, so the room is cleared out, and now you can see why I hate freaking gophers and ants and like, this room was cleaned out less than 6 months ago. So I don't think I'm going to be able to lift around that. I'm going to have to clean this out, and I'm hoping that the shop vac will help me do this instead of a shovel. Stay tuned. Well, the shop vac is working, but it is slow going. But I think I'm going to keep at it because I just don't have it in me today to mess with the shovel. So we're going to keep going. Okay, so original plan of the brackets did not work. Broke on the first lift. So we gave up and called a buddy with some real power tools, and he helped us get the building moved over off of the pile of dirt, and you can see that it was solid dirt, completely full underneath, like a bundt cake. And so now we're coming back with a bucket and scoop this stuff up and level out the yard and put some hardware cloth down and try to roll the building back onto it. That ain't working. That's the way you do it. So we got the building spot flattened out. Well, probably not level, but it's flattened out. Got the big pile of dirt cleaned out from underneath it, and the hardware cloth is down, stapled down around the outside and in the perimeter. Each row is overlapping, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches, and I tried to go 3 feet past the building all the way around, so when we move the building back to its original-ish spot, it will have hardware cloth all the way around it and hopefully prevent critters from getting up underneath it this time. Hopefully it works. I hate to think I did all this work and they can still get underneath there, but the idea is to deter them, and honestly they'll probably just go over there. But oh well. We'll work on that building next year or something. So anyway, getting close to time to get the building put back. Probably do that later this week. Running out of week. And this is where we're at right now.